With services, no company wants to give away 51% of its intellectual property. So when you have a cap of 49%, as you have in Thailand for foreign ownership, that is an impediment, and you see it in the level of services trade between Europe and Thailand. It's much lower than it should be. As always with FTAs, the low-hanging fruit, though some of those chapters are not particularly low-hanging, but the low-hanging fruit tends to be the chapters that get closed initially. There are challenges. In particular, I would say that European businesses find that the bureaucracy and administration is one of the issues. There's a lot of regulation that's probably not fit for purpose anymore and needs to be modernized or simplified.
You're watching The Wave. I'm Franc Han Shih. Well, Thailand is aiming to strengthen its connection with other trading partners by free trade agreements. Business leaders are concerned over Thailand's competitiveness in these geo-economic complexities. Vice Chairman of the EU-ASEAN Business Council and the Global Head of Public Policy of BDO, No Klihan, will join me now to give me more insights about EU FTA and Thailand's position in the region. And he joins us now. No, thank you for your time.
Pleasure to be here, Frank.
Right now, I think we have to talk about the EU FTA progress right now, because I talked to Kun Wurapong, former Thailand trade representative. We see some delays, according to him, at this moment. So following 7 rounds of negotiations, we would say that that's a good process and progress too. So how would you give us the challenges ahead? Perhaps the difficult charters that we have to talk about. And right now we haven't seen the new Thailand trade representative. How would that affect the progress here?
Well, thank you, Frank. I think if I start with the second part of your question, you know, the absence of a replacement for Kun Wurapong, who was an excellent Thai trade representative, is not particularly damaging right now in terms of the negotiations with the EU. Kun Wurapong was an excellent ambassador in terms of lubricating the process here in Thailand, but also identifying the issues in Brussels on a kind of a political and higher level for Thailand. The trade representative is not typically a member of the negotiating team as such, and therefore the absence of one for now is not particularly delaying or retarding the negotiations. To your broader question, the negotiations are actually going very well. I have constant contact with the European Commission trade negotiators in Brussels, no later than last week, with Commissioner Šefčovič himself, and indeed with the Department of Trade Negotiations and your trade ministers here in Thailand. And my information is that the negotiations are going well. All in all, trade negotiations are complex, are complicated, a lot of technical issues to be dealt with, a lot of political interests and defensive interests to be protected. Broadly speaking, the negotiations are going very well. We've had 7 rounds, as you probably know. The 8th round will likely happen in the first few months of 2026 here in Bangkok. And I believe that 7 of the intended 22 chapters of the FTA have already been closed, including some usually typical difficult chapters. For example, the trade and sustainability chapter very often can be quite difficult to negotiate for third countries with Europe. That chapter is already closed, which is very encouraging. Some of the other chapters that are closed, including customs, including technical barriers to trade, they can be quite complex, and I'm encouraged by the fact that those chapters are closed. As always with FTAs, the low-hanging fruit, though some of those chapters are not particularly low-hanging, but the low-hanging fruit tends to be the chapters that get closed initially. So from now on it will probably slow down, but that's not unusual, and there's no reason to be concerned that this FTA won't come to some sort of a conclusion. In my view, probably in the second half of 2026.
Right. So what you said, I think right now technocrats already from both sides, they are still negotiating and talking about that.
Absolutely.
FTA progress and negotiations, despite the absence of the head or the Thailand trade representative. One part I think EU business leaders and European Union looking at is Thailand's competitiveness at this moment, no matter across various fields. So according to IMD ranking, Thailand's competitiveness stands at 38th. But one figure that we have to talk about is future readiness ranking. It's quite far behind than other ASEAN peers here. So how do you interpret future readiness ranking? Because right now Thailand is at 45th out of 69th. What does that mean for you?
Well, actually, I wouldn't be so concerned about where it is in the actual placement of the 69 countries by the IMD annual index. I think it's more the trend that needs to be identified. From memory, I think Thailand is actually 30th in overall terms. There are a lot of different metrics that IMD uses, but on average, Thailand comes in at number 30 out of 69, down from 25. And I think that's the trend that Thailand needs to be worried about. There's also a digital competitiveness index, and similarly, I think Thailand there has slipped a little bit. I think it's, again, from recollection, 38 out of 69. Singapore and Malaysia, two of your neighbours and I suppose economic competitors, are ahead. But more worryingly, I suppose, is the trend. Falling 5 places in 1 year is certainly something the Thai government needs to be alert to and aware of and respond to in terms of the various aspects of competitiveness that form the IMD annual index. There are other indices around ease of doing business in Thailand. The old World Bank Index, which was suspended a few years ago, had Thailand a little bit further back. But as I say, I think Thailand's the direction of travel is what's to be worried about, not its place in the league table per se, and particularly then its relative placement in the league table to its Asia-Pacific competitors. It's 8 out of 14 in terms of the overall Asia-Pacific countries, and third of the 3 ASEAN countries I mentioned, Singapore, Malaysia. Indonesia, interestingly, is behind in terms of competitiveness. But I don't think Thailand should take any comfort from who's behind you. I think it's who's in front of you and what's the direction of travel that's important.
What does business leader, or especially of course from EU, concern over Thailand's competitiveness right now? What's the concerning part that investors, they want to see government to fix or resolve immediately? What's the insights from you when you talk to your counterparts?
That's a very interesting question. I would start by saying European businesses love Thailand. Many of BDO clients and certainly many of the members of the EU-ASEAN Business Council have been in Thailand many years. And they love Thailand, they love doing business here, but there are headwinds, there are challenges. In particular, I would say that European businesses find that the bureaucracy and administration is one of the issues. There's a lot of regulation that's probably not fit for purpose anymore and needs to be modernized or simplified. One of the challenges is the Foreign Business Act, which restricts access to certain sectors and has ownership caps that limit the level of investment that European companies can make. I think when you look at Thailand, the second largest economy in ASEAN, the most industrialized, it's only the 4th largest trading partner of the EU in ASEAN. And that's not where it should be. I think it should be at a minimum second, and arguably further up the scale. It only constitutes 14% of EU trade with ASEAN. And again, it being the second largest economy and a long-established industrial economy, I think Thailand could do better. In terms of your question of what needs to change, I think there's definitely a lot of excessive regulation. There's a need for regulatory reform. I mentioned the Foreign Business Act, but there's quite a lot of other legislation that could be made fit for purpose, not just for European and foreign businesses, but indeed for Thai businesses. Access to finance is one. Skills, we hear from our members all the time Thailand, a highly educated, tech-savvy country, but perhaps the skills level is not keeping pace with the development of the world economy, and the skills and education policies of the government are not maybe positioning the country for the industries of the future. That is definitely what the feedback from our members, broadly speaking.
Right, and you're talking about the regulation because according to the latest version of EU-ASEAN Business Sentiment survey, that despite 57% of respondents expressing plans to expand their business in Thailand, but right now, as what you said, complex regulations, no matter it's on Foreign Business Act or other regulations, there needs to be fixed immediately, and the business regulations and environment in Thailand too needs to be revitalized because, of course, ongoing political instability. We need to see consistent policy at this moment. We actually have seen a lot of mega projects in Thailand, no matter it's land bridge project in the south, high-speed rail project, ongoing one right now in EEC too. So what specific initiative could Thailand really revitalize the economy and really attract the future investors to come to Thailand? And according to, of course, EU investors there, they want to see incentives and new projects in Thailand too. What's that for investor in terms of the mega project or incentives in Thailand?
I think major projects like the land bridge, the Eastern Economic Corridor, the broad Thailand 4.0 initiative are great for showing government intent and long-term strategic direction for the economy. I think because they take a long time to come to fruition. The land bridge, for example, will probably take years just because it's a major infrastructural project. They are important, but I would see more importance really is the immediate government efficiency, the ease of doing business in the country. Those are things that the country can and the government can deal with immediately and in the short term. Building land bridges and building new airports, these take years. There are plans, and the Board of Investment do a great job in highlighting those plans in Europe. I meet your Board of Investment people in Frankfurt and in Paris, and it's a very impressive program. The National Development Plan, there are a lot of plans and long-term strategic initiatives, big projects like land bridge, etc. The Eastern Economic Corridor is a reality. It's not something that is in the future. It's here and now. But I think the more immediate things to do to attract foreign investment, really around regulatory reform, simplification of the legislative environment here, access to finance, higher levels of skill, digital skills for the industries of the future, essentially making the economy innovation-led economy rather than trying to perpetuate the industrial economy of the last 40 years.
So as you talk about, actually, so many business leaders say that not just focusing on agricultural sector, industrial sector, what about the innovation-led sector you talk about? To put on the supply chains and innovation hub in Thailand is the key. You talk about government efficiency there too. It's very important. What are any specific examples or laws or regulation you could talk about to let Thailand's government and suggest to fixing or liberating the regulations and upgrading the government efficiency recently? Any specific?
Well, Thailand probably should do better in attracting some of that supply chain relocation. Right. There are impediments. The Foreign Business Act is the first one that's mentioned consistently. Something like 39, 40 sectors closed to foreign investors. Some of them ridiculous sectors like my own, accountancy. BDO has an office here with Thai partners and staff, but if I, a European accountant, want to establish an accounting firm here, I couldn't. So that's a rather trivial example, but personal example. So some of those sectors I think should be revisited. Similarly, the ownership cap is a huge impediment. Europe is a services superpower. The economy of the future will be services, digital services, green services, innovation services in particular. With services, no company wants to give away 51% of its intellectual property. So when you have a cap of 49%, as you have in Thailand for foreign ownership, that is an impediment, and you see it in the level of services trade between Europe and Thailand. It's much lower than it should be. Europe's economy is 75% services, Thailand is 55%, and if you stripped out tourism, it would be even lower. So I think there is an opportunity for Thailand to attach itself to the way the global economy is going, which is services.
Yeah, and that's a repercussion there. Actually, I talked to one aviation leader in Asia, and they really want to expand their maintenance hub in Thailand. But as what you said, the Foreign Business Act really halts it and stop it, and then because it delayed and takes a lot of time to go around the regulation and of course talk to Thai partner to establish that. Another question, you already mentioned it actually, Vietnam. Very important player in the region, and Thailand, of course, right now trying to keep up the competitiveness and maintain that position in Thailand. But as what you said, I mean, supply chain shifts and geopolitical tension here, ongoing internal politics, actually, political instability in Thailand too. How can Thailand really maintain its competitiveness in the region? As in, we need consistent policies in Thailand. We need innovative policies to attract more investors, no matter from EU or other parts of the world. How can Thailand do that, maintain the competitiveness?
Well, before I answer that, just you mentioned aviation. Yeah. One of the members of the EU-ASEAN Business Council is Airbus,
yes.
Of course, a global aviation giant. Their people have told me that in an aircraft engine, there are 1,500 sensors sending data all the time. Which is used for maintenance of the engine and for identifying issues, etc. That is all services. They are services. The sale of the engine is the sale of the good, but the services that come with the engine, that's an example for, of the servicification, if you like, of the goods economy. So I think that's an important thing to remember. To your question about Vietnam and what could the Thai government do, I mean, Vietnam has been very aggressive and very dynamic in advancing its position vis-a-vis its competitors. It has been signing trade agreements with many countries, including the EU, and it has seen its trade with Europe, follow a very upward trajectory, even through COVID, particularly as a result of the FTA with Europe. Only 2 countries in ASEAN have FTAs, Singapore and Vietnam. Indonesia recently concluded the text, but is not yet implemented. Thailand is probably next in terms of the choreography and the sequencing, followed by Philippines and Malaysia. So that would be the 6 largest economies. Thailand, I think, probably. Well, the talks were suspended, as you probably recall, as a result of political developments in Thailand in 2014, but restarted in 2023. Have been moving quite well, as I said earlier, and likely to conclude, I would say, next year. Overall, Thailand's government needs to have a holistic set of policies, including ease of doing business, including taxation, including skills, visas, the ease of movement of people, of experts, international experts into the country. Thailand's visa regime can be quite confusing and constantly changing. It's an easy country to visit as a tourist. You get, as European, you get your 98 days visa waiver. But from a professional work point of view, it's not always easy to relocate experts into the country. By comparing with Vietnam, I think Thailand has realized belatedly the need to catch up. Signing trade agreements is one such aspect, but also having a more dynamic business environment, a government efficiency, government responsiveness to business, not just European businesses, but Thai businesses as well. International investment brings competition, of course, but competition in the medium to long term is good. It drives innovation. It forces local stakeholders, local businesses to respond and to become more innovative themselves. So in fact, it's a win-win. The local companies, the local businesses recruit more people. The international investment employ more local people and bring capital and expertise. So I think the Thai government, in general terms, needs to make a welcoming environment. It does on paper exist. The Board of Investment does a great job on marketing Thailand as an investment destination. And indeed, it has a significant investment stock from Europe and elsewhere. But as I say, the ease of doing business is an area
Right.
across the board. That's a very generic term, but that could be worked on, I think.
Right, and when we compare to, especially say Vietnam, and sometimes we compare to Malaysia too, in terms of semiconductor supply chain in Malaysia too, they have that incentive to attract a lot of investors. But what about Thailand? Of course, we talk about stable supply chains in industrial sector, but what about innovation-led sector? That will be the key. Another question we have to talk about actually is bloc to bloc, EU to ASEAN, as in, of course, you're the vice chair for EU-ASEAN Business Council there, to talk about, will we see any possibility about EU-ASEAN bloc to bloc FTA? If not, how can EU and ASEAN really strengthen the connection together on trade?
Yeah. Our members in the Council, universally and year in, year out, indicate that their favoured preferential trade arrangements would be a bloc-to-bloc deal between the EU and ASEAN. Realistically, that's not going to happen in the near term for a variety of reasons. ASEAN is not homogenous economically or culturally, but certainly economically, in this sense. It wouldn't be easy for Europe to do a trade deal with a bloc where there's such a diversity of economies. You've everything from Singapore, a very advanced, sophisticated economy, to the smaller countries in the region, which are more agrarian and maybe less sophisticated, significantly less sophisticated. There are also political reasons why Europe would not want to do a deal with some countries in ASEAN. The approach for now of the European Union and the mandate that the Commission have is to do bilateral free trade agreements with the larger economies, the 6 larger economies. We have 2 already, Singapore and Vietnam. Indonesia is concluded. Thailand will probably be next, and then Philippines and Malaysia. That will give you the 6 largest economies. I think the intention is, once those 6 are in place, over time we may see some sort of a consolidation of those into a bloc-to-bloc. But I wouldn't bet on it in the foreseeable future. I think the best we can hope for are a series of bilateral agreements. Other areas where the EU is close to ASEAN are in terms of the Global Gateway project, which is, some call it Europe's answer to the Belt and Road Initiative. I think that's probably not quite true in the detail, but significant amount of funds and aid and support for projects in the region, up to 10 billion of EU funds that can be amplified by financial instruments to build infrastructure. And I think Thailand and other ASEAN countries can avail of that by working through the European Investment Bank. But there are a whole multiplicity of programs, technical capacity, technical expertise transfer. They all have acronyms like E-Ready, Arise, Share. The EU loves acronyms. But there's a significant range of programs and money transferred to ASEAN by EU. There's an Indo-Pacific strategy within which ASEAN is highlighted as a key bloc for Europe, and a plan of action to give effect to that. 2027 will see the 50th anniversary of diplomatic relations between the EU and ASEAN, and I think you will see that is a milestone year by which they hope to have all of the 6 FTAs that I mentioned in place. They'll also probably look to elevate the partnership from currently a strategic partnership to a comprehensive strategic partnership. And that will bring with it a whole host of more attention, essentially.
Yeah, so we all understand from the bilateral relation first, and we will work to bloc relations there, no matter it's from strategic partnership and across the board partnership too.
That's right.
Right, so today, thank you for your time. Noah Clehan, Vice Chairman of the EU-ASEAN Business Council and the Global Head of Public Policy of BDO, to give us insights about Thailand-EU relationships and, of course, across the board in ASEAN. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Frank.
More news to come.